and on ZingoTV on Chromecast and all smart TVs 2016 forward. Please remember to download the Barn Burner and ZingoTV apps in their respective app stores. Both are free on both iOS and Android devices. While you're using, please remember to rate and leave a comment so we know that you're enjoying them and getting the most out of your usage. So on this episode of 6 and 6, I'm really pleased to be joined by Samantha Ridgewell, who is a goaltender for the Toronto Six, the newest expansion team in the NWHL. Samantha, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, again, really exciting times as we get closer to the Lake Placid bubble, which is just, so exciting when we're seeing the pieces finally come together this week. We saw a landmark deal yesterday, which we'll talk about just a little bit later. But first off, let's talk about, coming to Toronto and, the adjustment, especially given this COVID-19 pandemic. So, what has your life been like between signing and getting here and just, getting, comfortable and skating during this time?
Well, I feel like we've had to adjust so many different times because we'll get used to one thing, and then unfortunately with COVID, you'll have to get used to the new restrictions and stuff like that. But getting there, I think we were able to have a couple of full team practices, so that was nice. Got the chance to meet everybody for a brief period of time, and then we had to cut it down to 10 players at a time, and that's where we've been at so far. So lots of small area games and skill sessions, goalie sessions. So I think it's been good that way, but it'll be great to hopefully get back on the ice as a full team too, just to get that natural full team chemistry as well. But it's been good, lots of workouts. For a while we had to work out outside actually. And then now we are working out with trainers outside of the team, just because unfortunately we had to close that down with COVID restrictions and stuff like that. But it's been good. I'm glad that we still are able to practice and get better and get prepared for this Lake Placid bubble.
Right. And so let's talk. I was actually going to bring up the adversity training being outside, something that Digit and trainer Jesse Cook kind of came up with just to get you guys, keeping in shape, especially given the challenges of not being able to use actual gym at Canada Ice Sports. So that's something unique. And I assume you didn't do that in Sweden and things. I mean, that's not something you typically do, but, challenges here, making do as we go along. So, what was that like?
It was different. I don't think I've ever done that besides maybe when you choose to be outside in the summer for a workout, but not in the winter when it's almost when you're wearing gloves to pick up the bar, when it's so cold. But it's not like we had any other option. The only way to really get better and prepare for the bubble was to do that. So nobody really wanted to be outside, but once you did the dynamic warm up, then you were fine and you were warm, and they had it all set up. So they brought out literally everything from the gym. So it was just a full gym outside. So it was great that they were able to do that, just to get us some workouts and some type of normal.
Absolutely. And yes, I would say some type of normal being able to work out. Yes. Type of normal being outside. No, especially not in that cold weather.
No, I definitely can't do it anymore. November was pushing it. January, it'd be a little cold.
Yeah, no, it's starting to get really, really nippy outside. So, wouldn't really want to know that you guys are doing that still in the freezing cold. So, let's move along.
Stuck to our hands.
Yeah, no, that'd be really challenging. So, but again, you're closer to the Lake Placid bubble now, and there's so much excitement surrounding that. So I guess we'll touch on that next. We didn't really know what this season was going to present. There were different things going around for some time that originally that the Toronto Six were going to be able to start the season here at home with about 200 fans in the stands, from what I was hearing. And that was just, a temporary plan before, of course, the second really big uprise of COVID-19 started striking. And then there was, if we're not playing here, where in the US are we playing? Then they pulled together this bubble. So, through this uncertainty, what has it meant to you to see the hard work of the NWHL really, push for the best of women's hockey, especially given these really challenging circumstances?
I mean, it's huge. It shows their support and their dedication to still have this season. And I know it definitely has. I'm sure it hasn't been easy getting this bubble to be a go. I know it's been months in the making, and but the fact that they were able to, and like to financially be able to put this on, that's huge for women's hockey, coming from from the league and from the owners and from investors and also sponsors. They've done a really good job of reaching out to sponsors and like adding a bunch of partnerships and stuff like that. So it's great that they're getting a lot of support, so that we're able to put this on. And I mean, even if it's just 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks of hockey games that I didn't think I was going to get. So I am beyond pumped to get down there and get playing some games.
And I think a lot of your teammates who I've spoken with have really said the same. And I think there's just, again, it's like, sure, it's 2 weeks and sure, it's not what you guys want, but there's just so much excitement too, because, the thought of, women's hockey in North America being played through this time almost wasn't something that was, a thought. So to have that, I think is really excellent. And, I think there's, especially the fan base that seems to have been created on Toronto Six social media, there's just so much pure, genuine excitement. And so I think that's really special.
Yeah, our media team has done an amazing job so far, and every time I get so many screenshots of like tweets and stuff that they post from friends from back home, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, your media team is unreal! They're so funny." So they've definitely helped promote us. And
Yeah, Alyssa Turner's done a really fantastic job on that end. She's hilarious, and I love the way she kind of generates so many memes and jokes within the team. And again, it's something to, engage the fans, at least during, these unprecedented times. So while there is no hockey, it's a way to, just keep the fans, interacting. So I think that's really special. So that being said, you played in Sweden in the SDHL before coming to the NWHL, and you're seeing how, such professional standards are finally being put in place, and how the Toronto Six, they paid for the locker room, the ownership of Joanna Boynton, and that's something that apparently is a first in the National Women's Hockey League. So, as we look at professional standards here, and what you had in the SDHL, how would you compare that? Because in the SDHL, it's known that the professional standards are more professional than has been in North America in previous years, in like the CWHL and the beginnings of the NWHL.
yeah, yeah, I think like in the SDHL, sorry, it depended, like it was different from program to program, like which teams were more financially backed, and lots of them I think were backed. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I think a lot of the programs that had men's teams, that kind of funneled in and supported the women's teams a little bit. So luckily those teams, like those women's programs, were a little bit more supported through that. But like as for the professional locker room that we got, I mean, I'm sure you saw the video of us getting to do our little walkthrough and stuff like that. It was awesome. It's a gorgeous locker room. They obviously invested a lot of time and money into that, so we're very grateful and very thankful for that. And I just wish we could have got to play a couple home games in there.
Yeah.
Experience.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I just said and experience it. No, you're good.
Absolutely. And, something that I think really stuck out to me is, the players as just walking down that hall and seeing the Toronto Six on the wall before even walking in, it's kind of like a goosebump kind of thing. Be like, okay, this is real. Let's do this. So I think that was really special to see. And, it's such a wonderful thing. And something that also really stands out to me when I think of this kind of thing is that Digit Murphy is someone who has been advocating for women's sports and within women's hockey for 23 some odd years now, and she's really pushed for the best for you guys. And so let's talk about the leadership of this team, which is Mandy Cronin and Digit Murphy. So let's start with Digit. She decided to become the head coach this year, given the challenging circumstances of putting together a proper hunt, given the challenges of COVID-19. So what's it been like to work under a Hall of Famer, nonetheless a legend?
Well, she's got a lot of energy, as I'm sure you learned that from your show, having her on there. But it's good. It's very good, positive energy. It's kind of like a refreshing like pick me up at the beginning of every practice, because she's it's just she's got so much energy that you laugh, and then you're just like, okay, like let's have some fun at practice. But as for like the women's empowerment side of it too, it's been great, because she does a lot of stuff with like I believe it's called H.E.R and stuff like that, and she just does a really good job of promoting us and like um, encouraging us to kind of like maybe empower ourselves in a way. Like they have us reading this one book over Christmas break that I brought home. I have to start it, about being like warriors and stuff like that. And she's given me a long list of books just to help grow and develop into a better leader and a better like women's leader and stuff like that. So it's been great learning from her as well.
Right. So as we talk further about, the idea of women empowerment, Lindsay Eastwood told me, she was my very first guest on the show back at the end of August, who said that she signed here, A, due to the challenges of COVID-19, and B, because Digit just brought this, refreshing energy, and, that women leadership and empowerment side really was attractive to her. So, when you had the opportunity to go back to Europe, why did you decide to sign in Toronto? What was it that caught your eye?
I mean, COVID obviously had an impact on everything too, just with all the uncertainties. Like, you really had no idea what was going to happen at that time of the signing. But I also like the idea of playing in Canada again. I haven't played in Canada, I don't even know, 4, 5, 6 years now, because I played in the States for 4 years. So I like the idea of playing in my home country and just being closer to family too, just one quick flight away if they ever wanted to make it to a home game. And I think with the expansion up into Canada, it allowed us to be able to like work and stuff like that too, which over in the SDHL, and if we were to play on the American side of the border, it's tough to get visas and stuff like that to be able to work part-time on the side too, because I do not like to be bored. And so I like to be busy all day long and then go practice in the evening, kind of like, yeah, so that was another bonus as well.
Right. And I heard some of the conversations between, Digit Murphy and the entire team via Zoom when that was more of a thing before practices begun, that, players like yourself who are coming in from different places were offered help to find jobs and this and that. And I think that that's really special. Then Mandy Cronin, I was told, was doing more of the visa kind of thing. So, lots of help from the Toronto Six management. I think that's really special. So, getting to know Toronto Six management, which once upon a time did include Tyler Tuminia, what have those talks been like? Especially, I guess I'll mention Mandy Cronin, who was more or less the idea maker behind the locker room.
Yep. Sorry, what exactly is the question? What have the talks been like with all of them as a leadership team?
Yeah, because we talked about Digit Murphy, but there's Mandy Cronin as well, the general manager, who's been, the idea keeper behind the team. So, I get, like, you mentioned what you liked about Digit. So, is there that familiarity with Mandy Cronin as well?
Mandy, I know more on like a goalie coach type of level. Because I think her general manager side of things is, I mean, for a lot of time was kind of more behind the scenes because she was putting so much time into the locker room. And she's been planning everything. So she's not on the ice with all the time. So, and then unfortunately with COVID, like you can only have 10 people. So she doesn't actually get to come to the rink that often. So she's been more the planner that's making the bubble happen from the Toronto Six side of things. And I know she's busy planning the travel. They just signed a partnership with a travel agency that's going to help us get down there. And but yeah, I like when I see her and work with her, it's more as a goalie coach partnership type thing.
Right. So as you talk about the goalie side of things now, you're playing with Elaine Chuli, who is someone who's experienced in the CWHL between the Toronto Furies and the H.E.R Spanky Rays. So, getting to work with her from the goalie side, what's that kind of been like?
It's been awesome. I feel like I keep bringing this up with the 10-person rule. So Chuli and I actually haven't gotten to practice at the same time very much, just because each little 10 group of each group needs a goalie. So we're often split up, and it's not like you ever mix us up where both goalies go on one ice. I think that's only happened once or twice. So I've only gotten to work with her in like short little snippets of ice here and there, but it's been good. And I mean, I remember playing against her my freshman year. I think my freshman year, her senior year perhaps, and at UConn, and she was really good back then, and she's still a really good goalie. So it's been awesome, and I'm sure at the bubble I'll question her a little bit more about her experience in the league and over in China, because I haven't had the chance to chat with her about what that was like.
Right. So, yeah, I guess when you talk about the separation again with the two groups both needing goaltender, I'll mention the full team skate that was in Alliston, Ontario a couple weeks ago, before the shutdown that I believe would have allowed you to skate with her. But again, these are the challenges being faced due to COVID-19. So was it nice to finally get on the ice as a full team finally, or well, as almost a full team, minus a couple players who are yet to be signed, of course. And especially I guess for the sake of, chemistry and familiarity to finally be together.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just getting to do like full ice flow drills. You don't realize how much you miss it when you're just doing half ice little skill stuff with only 7 skaters and a goalie. It's tough. So it was good to be able to do some like power play, PK, breakouts and like system stuff. So that was good. And to actually get to play some games, it was fun. There's a lot of healthy competition and that I think had been building up since September when we all arrived. So it was good.
Right. And I think that's again, it's only going to make the appearance of Toronto in Lake Placid all the more special. So before we kind of go to your NCAA career, I've got about 10 minutes left with you. Let's get into your time in Sweden just a little bit more. I don't know if you were playing with or against Brooke Boquist, but there were a couple of faces on this team that you did get to see over in Sweden. So, is it cool to be able to say you're playing with them here in Toronto as well?
Yeah, it is really cool. I think Brooke Boquist and Emma Woods, I believe, were in the league last year, both at Lake Sense. Yeah, it just kind of shows how small the hockey world really is. Because I played against Brooke at Providence, and Emma went to Quinnipiac, so like we were all in college around the same time, and all happened to be in Sweden at the same time, but I didn't know them last year, and then making that connection, and it's like, oh, we actually did play against each other last year. That's kind of cool. So yeah, it's neat just to prove how small the hockey world really is and how it can bring people together from everywhere.
Right, and Digit's expertise has, recruitment from everywhere. Again, yourself from the SDHL, she's gone to the NCAA, the PWHPA. She really is remarkable, and even with the Banky Rays, it was more or less the same thing. She was able to recruit the right players when she was doing the build up there for a year, as well as the national teams that she was helping prepare for Beijing 2022. So yeah, I think that's really cool, and again, a small world brings you guys together, and it'll be really cool to see the three of you, especially, take the ice as a team in Lake Placid. So let's move on to Lake Placid now. One of the killer questions that I think many are wondering is, what are these players going to do in their hotel rooms when they're not on the ice and not working out? So what are you bringing with yourself to Lake Placid, whether it be, I don't know, like a PlayStation, Xbox, or are you just mostly focused on the work side while you're there?
The work side is very important, but for me, if I am focused all day long on hockey, I just kind of I almost overthink everything in my head. So a group of us I own a rock band that goes all the way back to Merrimack days. We had a rock band in the locker room and played it before every game. So we're bringing a PS4, and I'm bringing my rock band. So we'll maybe get that going a little bit. And then I'm big into puzzles, so I'm going to bring some puzzles. And other than that, I think lots of cards. We've recently discovered that everybody loves to play cards on our team. So we're probably going to have a lot of card tournaments, different games and stuff like that, because it's going to be a lot of hockey. I think if you end up going all the way, I think it's like 9 games in 12 days. I think something like that, if I did the math right. So that's a lot of hockey. So I think it'll be important to kind of take the time, especially like when we're recovering and resting, to not think about hockey at all, just so that you don't get too burnt out in that little 2-week period.
Right. So I was looking at the World Juniors as I was covering their selection camp in Red Deer, Alberta, and I heard that they were doing things like poker night, they were doing painting night, and they were doing those all over Zoom. So I guess my follow-up question to you will be, do you know if you're able to do this kind of stuff in person, or will that also be over Zoom?
I think that once we get to the bubble, I believe we all get tested and stuff like that. So it'll be a secure bubble. So I think within our team, we're allowed to interact and move around, because I believe that the hotels are pretty secured off, so that our rink bubble extends back to our hotel bubble, so that we can eat together and still hang out together and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll still have to be very cautious and maybe wear some masks and stuff like that. But I know we're getting tested pretty often when we're down there. So it should be a pretty secure bubble, but we just always have to be cautious. But I think we'll get to do some team bonding stuff, which will be good.
Yeah, I think that'll be really good. And again, it adds to the experience of being in Lake Placid for this, again, phenomenal event. So I was going to touch on your college days, and maybe I will if I have enough time, but I want to get your thoughts on yesterday's announcement of NBC carrying the semifinals and the finals. So, this is a landmark deal. Tyler Tuminia, this was something that she was brought in for, and man, she killed it. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, she crushed it. The whole league and everybody behind it. Um, I mean, just I can't applaud them enough for what they were able to accomplish with this deal. I mean, I got so many texts pouring in saying, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to make it all the way so that we can watch you on TV now," stuff like that. So it's fun to have that type of support too. And I mean, even I scrolled through Twitter every time I'd open my Twitter yesterday. It was another new tweet from somebody how pumped they were about this big news and how important it is for women's hockey. So yeah, I mean, it's huge for women's hockey. I think they were saying it's the first time that was it the first professional women's hockey game that'll actually be broadcast on live TV besides the Olympics, right?
In the US, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that, right?
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, you look at the CWHL, they've been on Sportsnet, not for, a full season, but through parts. And so it's really cool to see that the NWHL is finally getting their dues with
Yeah.
NBC Sports. And I think that, that might even add a little push to trying to be like, okay, let's get it. Let's get into the finals. And I think that's going to be really fun to watch you guys. And so I guess with that, I'll ask you, and again, you've seen the social media. So, I'm sure you're aware of Toronto's online rivalry with Boston. Do you think that's going to translate on the ice, or do you think that maybe the Buffalo Buttes being just down the road from Toronto might be the bigger rival?
Honestly, I am too new to this league to be able to tell. I don't know. I actually have no idea. I don't know how. I have no comment for that one because like I personally don't like one of my best friend plays on Buffalo, so that's gonna be more of a rivalry for me. But I think because all of us are pretty new to this league as well, I don't know if we'll have necessarily like a main rival. I think like every game is gonna be like a rival. And I
Right.
think you'd love to tell.
Who's your friend on Buffalo? Can I ask?
Dominique Kramer. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she was also from the SDHL. That makes sense.
Yeah, we both went over there. We both graduated from Merrimack at the same time. So yeah.
All
So
right,
that's
and
my rival game.
yeah, I think that's going to be really cool to know that you guys are playing against each other as well. So with how much time do I have left? 2 minutes left. Very quickly, do you want to touch on your 4 years at Merrimack? I know it's not a lot of time to do it in, but did you enjoy it?
Yes, I loved it. I loved it, and I have to give a lot of thanks and credit to the coaches that I had over those 4 years. They really helped develop me as a goalie and as a person to be able to. I mean, they were the ones that gave me the opportunity to keep playing over in Sweden, and the reason that I'm here now today too, because of the amount of time that they poured into me to better me as a goalie over those 4 years. And they have a lot of connections as well that helped me afterwards. So I have to give them a lot of credit, and I always thank them all the time. But very appreciative.
And I believe another familiar face was Michaela Grant Mentis. Was she at Merrimack when you were?
Yeah, she was the year behind me. So it's fun to play with her again. And I'm glad I'm on her team and not against her.
I think that's more than fair to say. That being said, Samantha, thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, where can fans find you on social media?
I have Twitter and Instagram. So just search up. I usually go by Sam Ridgewell, and then usually a 34 in there.
All right, so make sure you're following Sam Ridgewell on Twitter. Make sure you are following at the Toronto Six and at NWHL. There are more announcements to come from the NWHL into the end of the week as it pertains to the Lake Placid bubble. Make sure you're watching Sam Ridgewell when she plays at the Toronto Six. We might just have an Isabel Cup winner over here, so time will certainly tell. So that does it for this week's episode of Six and Sticks right here on the Barnbird TV Network and ZINGOTV channel 250. For more updates on the Toronto Six, I actually have a few. Might put one out tonight. Follow me on Twitter at Justin Levine HBS, and make sure you are tuned in next week as I hope to have another teammate of Samantha's on this show, Six and Six. So that does it for me. My name is Justin Levine. That's Samantha.